Welcome into Mailbag Monday here on CHGO Blackhawks. It's a Bears Victory Monday, and that's the only football game we're talking about. Yes. Shut up, everyone.
Yes.
Leave me alone. I've gotten your texts and tweets. I hate you all.
Oh, wait,
something happened over the weekend?
Nope, this is a hockey show.
I look forward to the history lesson of the long-standing rivalry between Northern Illinois and Notre Dame.
$1.4 million to lose at home.
I will say, they have paid more for losses in the past.
That's true.
A history lesson on Notre Dame paying for losses coming up next week.
Notre Dame reminding everybody the most overrated program in the history of college sports.
Get him.
So dumb.
Get him.
Go Irish.
The dumbest thing I've ever
Badgers
heard in
are
my life.
2-0.
All right, thanks for being with us.
Losing to Northern Illinois at home is the dumbest thing.
We have a lot of mailbag questions to get to, and we're going to get to them. We've also got some hockey news to get to. Before we get to any of that, do us a favor, smash that like button for us. Make sure you are following our YouTube page as well. Subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. It's right there next to the like button. Real easy. Do both. And then open up your favorite podcast app. Listen to the show again. And while you're doing that, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, whatever your favorite app calls for, and then leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and then become a CHGO diehard at allchgo.com. That's all we ask. Is that so much?
Not at all.
Not at all.
That's not a lot to ask.
I mean, all of that
for.
literally takes like 90 seconds.
Right, exactly. The hardest thing would be becoming a diehard because you got to maybe enter your credit card and choose your shirt, your free shirt.
right.
Yeah, there's lots to choose from.
All right, before we get to the mailbag, can I start with the thing that delighted me the most this weekend, aside from the Bears win?
It was Thomas Hammock's post game.
It was not that.
No.
It was Jonathan Taves.
Oh, yeah.
This could become a new game. Is where will Jonathan
Where
Taves
in the
Instagram
world
from
I mean-
next?
Is Jonathan Taves?
Peyote taking hippie was not on my Jonathan
I love
Taves
it,
bingo
man.
card.
I love it.
It is.
It's awesome.
It's awesome.
Jonathan
I
Taves,
love it.
for
He's
those
living
that
life,
missed it,
man.
was at Burning Man.
Yeah.
That Burning
Yes.
Man.
And the image we're showing on the screen, and the first one on the Instagram post, looks like he is entering Mad Max
I was
territory.
going to say, I was like, what is that like octopus-like creature?
with his Cubs floppy hat on.
I can only assume his mouth is spray painted silver and he's ready to go. Jonathan Taves, from his Instagram, you don't know until you know. Burning Man is a circus, a total space carnival. Everywhere I looked, I saw something new that blew my mind open wider still.
Hell yes, brother.
But never before have I seen a happier, more generous group of human beings caring for each other while absolutely sending it in their own heart-opened abandon.
Send it.
Thank you to the Kiss Camp and Burning Man community for helping me once again find the fire that burns within, and for the timely lesson that it isn't what you do, it's how you do it. Quote, your celebration, your dance will be enough to prevent the war.
That is a guy.
Quoting Osho.
That is a quote from a guy who no longer has to worry about taking drug tests.
Sure. Yeah.
More on Sunnyside later in the show.
Oh boy!
Hey,
I
man,
mean-
I'm just happy to see him happy.
I love that picture of him
Yeah.
right there.
Like,
he's
that's
killing it.
beautiful.
Man.
Go out and enjoy your post hockey world life. And yeah, I mean, we've for all the maybe he'll come back and maybe he'll do that. This makes me feel like he's even further from hockey than we thought. Like I
he's
know a
never
lot of
know.
people were like maybe he'll be a coach or a front office role or all. He might just be done with hockey, like done with the NHL world life. Like, you know, we knew when he was still playing here how, you know, he kind of had some different interests and aspirations outside of hockey. And, you know, a lot of what he did with within the Blackhawks community, like charities and foundations, was like green living, like growing organic. Like I know he did the kids program where they were like making like organic gardens and things like that. Like, I don't know, maybe he is just like the NHL world, hustle and bustle, all that. Like maybe he just doesn't want it, wants to do other things with his time.
I think when you think about the intensity with which he played during his NHL career, that didn't start his rookie year. It was in junior, It was in college. It was winning World Junior Championships. It was in college. It was before that. It was probably as a little kid.
Yeah, as
Probably had that
8-year-old.
playing, Sega Genesis.
Yeah. But now he has found that he can express himself in different ways and find that fire and passion that we talk about so often in Chicago sports, but it doesn't have to be hockey related. And I'm just really happy to see him surfing and doing the things that most
Burning Man.
kids in their early 20s, late teens get to do.
Yeah.
He missed out on that. A lot of these guys miss out on that. So, and while some of his teammates did engage in some of those things, he was never really among them. And now he's living out his 20s, and good for him. He's got more money than he'll ever need. He could do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to see him happy and healthy and content, and that's what's important. So good for him, man. It was I just a huge smile went across my face yesterday when I saw that.
I was just getting in the car on my way to go to my beer league hockey game last night, and I was just like, let me do one last check at Instagram and just clear these notifications or whatever, and I saw this pop up, and I was like, oh, well, didn't have that on my on my radar whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, it's just great to see. I mean, knowing what he went through health-wise at the end of his time in Chicago as a Blackhawk and seeing what he's been doing, it's been good to see that, because how he pushed himself and how physically miserable he had to be at times during that stretch to feel like he's out in the world enjoying himself. Like that's a good thing to see. And far be it from me to look into this quote, but for the timely lesson that it isn't what you do but how you do it. I'm not gonna overthink that one, but maybe it was a little bit of like, hey, maybe I do want to get back, and then in some way he kind of zoomed out, had a different worldview, had a experience at Burning Man, and figured,
You always do.
what is there left for me to do?
Yeah.
Maybe I've already done it the way I should have done it. Who
I look
knows?
forward to him, his next career move, a roadie for Fish.
Be awesome.
He'll be playing alongside John Mayer in The Grateful Dead.
There you
Hey, as long as, go do you, man. That's awesome. Good for him. He's surfing. He's Burning Man. He is living. He's doing things that most people dream about, from professional hockey player to surfing out in the tropics to hanging out at Burning Man, living your life. I mean, good for him.
You think he'll start tracking his poops like Johnny Oduya on Instagram?
Well, they've been hanging out a lot.
I mean,
He might be already. I'm just
who
glad he's
says
not
he hasn't
sharing
already? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Johnny has stopped sharing the details of his results, but him and Bill Romanowski used to do that. The old roided up linebacker. Yeah, it's okay. Whatever. Lebowski 5 makes a good point too and says, I can imagine Taves talking to folks at Burning Man who have no clue who he is and saying something like, yeah, I was a professional hockey player. I won 3 Stanley Cups. And there's like, what? Yeah, I don't know what that
blank
is.
stares. Yeah. Huh?
Yep, no big
Who
deal.
knows?
All right, the other little
That
bit
was
of news
fun.
we want to get to is the PWHL has finally named their teams.
Yes.
And they are team names. That's for sure.
There's 6 of them.
They sure
There are
are.
6 of them. So here's what we got. The Boston Fleet.
Here, I got
Best-
pictures of each if
best
you want to
logo.
go through them.
Beautiful.
Best
Like,
logo.
here's the
for
Boston Fleet.
group.
Yeah, it's kind of like a inadverted trident
Hey man,
thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah, or an
get a bit of
anchor.
I get a bit of a Whalers vibe.
With
I'm
the-
It is,
loving
there
A
is a
little
Whalers
bit,
vibe
yeah.
to that for
Definitely,
sure.
definitely that.
It's pretty good.
And the B, you could see the B in there. Yeah,
Yep.
Pretty good.
Next up, we got the Minnesota Frost.
Pretty
I mean-
generic.
yeah.
That looks like
looks
an
like a
EA
cereal.
generated logo.
That looks like a cereal. Like, ooh, Frost cereal.
Yes. Now, for me,
I
this
get
is
that.
my favorite. The Montreal Victory. I think that's how you say it.
Victory
Or is it
de
Victoire?
Montreal.
Is it Victoire?
En français is Victoire de Montréal.
That's amazing. Take
That's
all my
pretty
money
good.
with all your merch.
It's super French Canadian. So if you like that stuff, that looks cool.
Next up, the New York Sirens.
This one sucks.
Kind of
Shout out to New York being a crime-ridden hellhole. I like it.
I don't like the reverb S on the sirens.
Did you read the reason why?
No.
It's supposed to be like the constant hum of the city is like the sound waves.
No, I don't.
I hope they finish in last.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't love that one. Next up, the Ottawa Charge, who are basically going with the Calgary Flames logo.
This looks like as if the
Cleveland
Cavaliers and
the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the
Calgary Flames had a baby.
Yeah.
And it's the Ottawa Charge.
Somebody though did say on Twitter in my feed, I can't remember who it was. I'd love to give him credit because it was funny, saying congratulations to Ottawa for being the only team in Canada that spells correctly.
True.
Because then you have the Toronto Septras.
Septras?
Scepters.
Oh, no, this is Taylor Swift's high school.
The Taylor Swift.
Yeah, this is the Taylor Swift high
Cash
school.
in on that Swiftie money while you can.
It works.
Scepters is cool. I don't mind that one.
Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
what tie-in to Toronto does that have?
Well, it says here, the
Well,
Scepters
Maple Leaf-
embodies Toronto's regal history and commanding presence.
Okay.
Watching the
Reflected in
Maple
the
Leafs in
moniker-
April is like getting stabbed in the heart with a scepter.
Yeah, the moniker
Sure.
Queen City and iconic places like Queen Street, one of the city's most culturally vibrant thoroughfares. Okay,
Okay.
sure.
I mean, as I've said with like the Utah stuff, I don't care about team names. I just want cool uniforms and cool logos, and there's some potential there. I mean, Minnesota Frost is a generic name,
Yeah,
easy
that's-
as it gets.
I think that's the one I like the least.
Boston Fleet. I wonder how much of that though is a throwback to the Fleet Center. That was the name of the arena when it was first built.
That
It
could
says Fleet pays homage to Boston's collective spirit and rich maritime history, representing the city's unified strength and resilience.
Okay. Shout out to the Boston Tea Party, I guess. Lots of boats. And
I mean, they have a harbor.
And if they're fleet of foot, that will go good for being a hockey
It's
team.
like a track team name.
I like Minnesota says Frost embodies the state of hockey's deep-rooted love for the ice.
Sure.
It's effing cold here all the time.
Yeah, that's what they just sort of said. Like, it's cold. Frost.
Erica says Chicago needs a PWHL team. They do.
Yeah.
Hoping,
yeah,
you
not,
know, with
not
the
opposed to expansion.
with the fifth third arena expansion, I believe the plans are to include an arena that can hold like about 2,500 fans.
Yeah, but I think that's still less than what the PWHL looks for.
Well, maybe
for
they
a
should.
team.
Maybe they should start small and then worry about it. I mean, you could do the Now Arena in Hoffman Estates. You could put ice down there. It was down
Sure.
there at one point.
Mhm.
That's a nice small arena for them. But yeah, I would love Chicago. What would the Chicago women's hockey
Italian
team name?
beefs.
I don't think
Italian
that's good for a women's
beefettes?
team.
Yeah,
Because it's got to be a women's team. I don't know.
That's
I don't know.
Let's see. Well, we've already got Bears
with
and
the
Cubs.
kind of some of the
Blackhawks.
obscure names.
yeah. I mean,
What's a very loose
the
Chicago
the
connection?
Chicago Wind.
I do like
Yeah.
Red,
Yeah.
Red Stars is taken, but that's
Yeah.
that's a cool one.
homage to the flag.
Yeah.
that's cool. The Sky obviously.
Sky
taken.
is taken.
The Chicago Breeze.
This is a new thing though. This new everything has to tie into the city.
Chicago Gusts.
There's no bears roaming Chicago. There's no tigers in Detroit. I think
You don't
there's.
know
I
that.
think we're getting into like the overthought team name. There's not a lot of. Well, I guess Bulls would tie to the stock
market
yards.
and the Bears too.
Bears is
Yeah,
stock bear.
The stock market, the board of trade.
Yeah, the
Sure.
trade.
Sure.
And the TV show.
Yes,
The Bears.
Yeah.
Bears?
There you go.
George Ellis had in
Bear.
mind. I
Oh,
predict.
It's named after
Yeah,
the bear.
That's true. Yeah,
I don't know. Sounds like a good topic for when the expansion's announced.
sure.
But yeah, I'm looking at the Montreal merch and the maroon with the gold and blue highlights. It just looks great. That is, I think, to me, it's by far the best name.
Do they
of the
have
group.
jerseys?
I don't see any
jersey
jerseys
designs
yet.
announced? Oh, okay,
well, I saw.
just team names.
I don't.
and
Yeah,
logos.
they just had the jersey that still had the like city name, that standard thing they did last year. Is
Yeah.
that,
I mean,
I
you
don't think-
hope that they
like
have
I looked at the
jerseys
Boston
by now.
Fleet one. I
They've
thought
had
it had the
two-
logo on the sleeve, but
It's now year 2.
I don't know. Change
No, I think
See.
they'll have real ass jerseys this year. I think.
Well,
hope so.
hopefully it'll be
Ass
better
jerseys.
Yes.
than Utah, which we'll be talking about after the break zone, gentlemen.
Yes.
It is break zone time.
Yes. More. Now we'll finally get your mailbag here on CHGO Blackhawks.
Hey, whether you're betting pro or college, the app to bet football is Circa Sports Illinois, and pretty soon you'll be able to bet hockey and basketball there as well. Circa Sports is sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, or in-game, Circa Sports has it. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 and older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yes, and they have nice, tidy ad copy, which we love, just like our friends at Coors Light. And this was a great weekend to kick back and watch several hours of football. I think I watched football for 12 straight hours yesterday.
I got it out of my system. I'm good. I'm good.
It was awesome.
I ended up being awake till about 1 a.m. on Saturday night watching Arizona State play.
Yeah,
nice.
I was watching the
Those
Boise
uniforms
and
were
Oregon.
sweet, though.
Yeah, they were sweet.
good
Yeah, but yeah,
uniforms.
I know I was up way too late watching college
Yeah,
football.
well, that's
Pac-12 after dark.
That's the beauty.
RIP.
We're here, and when you choose to chill out on your couch and watch some football on the weekend, then reach for a Coors Light. It is the perfect choice to make when you choose chill. It is mountain cold refreshment. When those mountains turn blue, it's as cold as the Rockies. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. So when you embrace a chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a nice cold Coors Light. Coors Light is mountain cold refreshment, crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. Make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And with that, let us tear open our mailbag.
Ah, yes, the
The
mailbag.
last.
This is it?
Yes, this is the last non-in-season mailbag of the year.
Hot damn.
Thank God.
Well, all right. Let's get to it. This comes from Rooney,
Ernie.
one of our diehards from our Discord. Please become a diehard. Rooney says, I know context matters, but assuming a full 82-game season, would you be, quote-unquote, disappointed if Bedard finishes with less than 30 goals, let's say 25 to 29 range?
I mean, he could have 25 goals and 75 assists. That'd be fine.
Yeah, I mean, if he has that goal ratio between 25 and 29, still has 100 points, I mean, that's pretty good.
That's wonderful.
But I would think, I don't know, you got to put it in like, I would say just generically, yes.
I agree.
But like you look at yesterday's Bears game, if you just looked at the stat line of Caleb Williams, you'd be like, oh my God, that was so disappointing. They probably lost. And they won.
Right.
So as Caleb said, stats don't mean everything. So if Connor Bedard goes out there and has 27 goals and 77 points and wins 46% of his faceoffs and is a +4, and the Blackhawks finish 3 points out of the wild card, I mean, it's hard to call that a disappointing year.
Yeah,
right.
If he's under 30 goals, but he's making everyone else around him better, or pumping up there. If he puts up 27 goals and Teuws puts up 25 goals and Bertuzzi puts up 26 goals and Kurashev has 23 goals or whatever, and the team looks good, like it doesn't matter if they don't if he's not scoring that much, so long as he is like improving and being like still the wheel that's moving everything forward, and it looks better than it did last year. I think that's an improvement, and that's nothing to be disappointed about. If he doesn't score 50 next season, like let's say this, he puts up 47 goals next year, is a point per game player, and they finish second to worst.
And they finish with 60 points.
Yeah.
Or he scores 27 goals.
What are you more
finish
disappointed with? The overall team, or what's worse? The team being second to last again, or is it good that at least Bedard scored 40?
Yeah, I mean, if he's close to point per game next year, then I think you're still seeing that arrow going up. Look, there's very little that could happen with Connor Bedard. It's going to make me go, uh-oh. We know he's going to be very, very good.
Yeah.
We know he's going to be worthy of the place he was chosen. We know he will probably be worthy of the hype that was built up around him going into the draft. So, and Rooney said, like, I know there's a lot of context involved, but just so on the surface, would a less than 30 goal season be a disappointment? I guess so, yes. But again, if the team is better and he's having to do less, then fine. Last year, by the way, for the record, finished with 22 goals in 68 games. Had he played 82, he would have been on pace for, if you round up, 27 goals.
Right.
And that's with no help.
Yes. Right. You would think with the improvement around him, top to bottom of the lineup, defensively, goal, everything, he should hit 30 goals. That should be a realistic marker. But I mean, as we said, what would you rather have? 47 goals and the Blackhawks finish with 55 points, and you're wondering, is this team ever going to be good again? Or 45, or he finishes with 27 goals and the Blackhawks get 80 points, and they're like, hey, okay, they're just another year. Their next year is going to be the year they might get back to the playoffs. I mean, you could be disappointed with Connor Bedard's overall goal production and happy with where the team's at. Both of those things can happen.
Yeah. Let me
and
ask
vice
you this.
versa.
Maybe a better, good question, Rooney. I'm not saying it wasn't, but like maybe a better thing to ask would be, what kind of performance would concern you from Bedard? Like if he plays 82 games and his numbers are X, like if he finishes with fewer points next year than last, that'd be concerning.
Yes, yeah. Fewer points, face-offs still bad.
61 points in 68 games. I'll do the math real quick here.
I think that's what, a 73-point pace?
That sounds about right.
So if he plays all 82 games and has like 65 points and still can't win a face-off.
Yeah. It's a 74-point pace.
And is a minus 30 on the score sheet.
If his stat line is basically replicated from last year with the way that the team around him is supposed to be improved, you'd be a little bit concerned of being like, that wasn't what we were expecting. I know, and look, it's taken some, primetime players in this league more than just 1 or 2 years to kind of put things together. We talked about it last week, talking about guys like Jack Hughes and Nathan McKinnon and all that, and they needed some time to kind of gear up and rev up. But I think if not to say that there weren't concerns about those guys at that stage in their careers, but yeah, I'd say if Bedard basically replicates on a stat line what he did last season, I think they'd be underwhelming.
All right, let's move on to the next question.
All right, gentlemen, let's go back into the mailbag for this one from Genesis. Give us your take on this from Flyers beat writer Charlie O'Connor, especially since the Draisaitl contract seems like waiting for big names to hit unrestricted free agency isn't the way. We're seeing far few superstars hit unrestricted free agency. And so Charlie had written, the Draisaitl news speaks to my belief that the Flyers can't depend upon the UFA market to solve their high-end talent problem. The trade market, I still hold, is the way to go if they're going to add those kind of guys from outside the organization.
Yeah, we should mention, by the way, Charlie from PHLY Flyers.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Greg.
Well, I 100% agree with him. I know we've said a lot about, wouldn't it be fun to sign Leon Draisaitl or Mikko Rantanen or Mitch Marner? And a lot of that is tongue-in-cheek. Like, we know that the chances of those guys...
would be fun.
That's not a lie. Yeah, it certainly would be fun. But elite franchise players rarely hit free agency. We've seen it a lot in the past. I mean, Kane and Taves never hit free agency. Nope. Sidney Crosby's never hit free agency.
Oh, Kane did.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, in their prime.
Right.
When they're considered franchise-type players. Steven Stamkos didn't when he was in the prime of his career. He did this past season, but, he's at the tail end of his career. Guys like that rarely ever hit free agency in their prime for a reason. So, yes, if we were saying that the Blackhawks rebuild hinges on Mikko Rantanen becoming a free agent and somehow the Blackhawks outbidding everybody else, well, then that's a bad plan.
That's a bad plan.
That's a very bad plan. It's likely not going to happen. It's fun to dream about, but reality is, yes, you have to get super lucky and win a draft lottery and get a Connor Bedard. That is, not every team does that.
Right.
Very few ever do. And then, yes, build up your ammunition, your cupboard, and make some risky trades. Look at Florida. Look what they did the complete opposite of what you should do to build a Stanley Cup. They basically said, we're not drafting anybody. We're trading for everybody. We're signing
Yeah.
all these free agents and we're going to win the cup, and it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very risky way to do it, and that rarely pays off, but good for them.
Yeah, I think going into the free agency market to look for your franchise changer is not realistic. That's where I feel like that's where you go where, you know, if you have a couple of pieces in place, you can get that like put over the top kind of player. Like, would you say Marian Hossa played a game-changing role for that team? But I wouldn't say he changed the course of the franchise by himself. Like, he came into a team that had Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane and
It's a
Keith
great
and Seabrook and all
complimentary
that
piece.
stuff. Yeah, like that. Like, he would say he was one of the four or five best players, most important players to that group. But they needed someone like him to be that over the top piece. So yeah, I mean, down the line, if one of those types of players is in free agency, then yeah, I think you can go out and you can get somebody like that, but you have to have a relatively established or up and coming core group of players that player is going to go into and either be one of the 3, 4, 5 most important pieces. If you go in and try and say this free agent is going to be the next leader and captain and do it everything, like that's a hard route to go.
I'm trying to think of like the last massive that level free agent to hit the market
Probably.
in their prime.
At that point,
Is it Parise and Suter? And are they
No,
they
probably-
didn't even really pan out to be
Probably John Tavares.
Yeah.
But
he
really
was-
he really didn't hit the market. Everybody knew he was going to
Right.
Toronto.
Yeah.
right, yeah.
But I wouldn't exactly call him that elite.
But he didn't
franchise player
come
either.
into Toronto to be, he's going to be the number one guy.
Right, he
they
came-
already had
He came
Marner,
to be
Matthews,
their Marian
Nylander.
Hossa.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, number one guys acquired as an unrestricted free agent.
Doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. And look, even if the Hawks did get Rantanen, you would probably say Bedard is still the number one if he pans
Yeah.
out the way people think he's going to. But
So
yeah, it's pretty rare.
he's
And I
supposed to
think kind of to your point where you're saying what you do in free agency is you fill in around the peripheries where these teams are like Edmonton, like, well, we got to keep Draisaitl and we got to keep McDavid. So we're going to lose probably Evan Bouchard or we're going to lose maybe Nuge down the road or whoever it might be. And that's where you can sweep in free agency and add those missing pieces, which the Hawks did a good job of during the dynasty and a lot of teams have been doing.
Free agency should be used as filling out that final puzzle piece, not building your team. And yes, as Charlie, our pal from PHLY said, that's not where you go get your high-end talent. You can get you can get really good players free agency, but you don't get your cornerstone players that way. Those are guys
Really?
that are going to be you draft and develop, or a team gets desperate and trades away a guy like that. But that all comes from scouting, because again, you don't trade away guys like that very often either.
Yeah.
You try and find those guys when they're 22, 23 and acquire them then before they hit superstardom, and
Right.
it's difficult.
And a lot of times too, when you do see guys like that move, it is via trade, like a sign and trade.
Yeah.
So a team's going to give you, like, if let's just use Marner as an example. If the Leafs know they're not going to be able to bring him back for whatever reason, it's going to be tough for them because they're probably going to be in a cup chase in their minds anyway. Are they going to trade Marner at the deadline and then lose him for nothing? I don't know. But a lot of guys like that. Who was, why am I blanking on the guy that Vegas acquired at the deadline? Big dude.
Jack Eichel.
No,
Hurdle.
last year.
Hurdle.
Like that like the Sharks knew they weren't going to be able to bring him back, and they're like, well, we might as well get a crap ton of assets for him. And that, but again, Hurdle is not the kind of guy that's going to alter the direction of your franchise.
Right.
He's a nice complimentary piece. So that's a good question.
Alter your salary
Good job,
cap.
Charlie. Way to go.
Yes.
Are we
Yes.
break zone? Are we in the break zone?
We're closing in on it, I guess. About
All right, well,
30
before we
seconds
hit the
left.
break zone, I'll kill some time for you here.
You got 30
You may have
seconds.
seen all of our great tailgates happening over the weekend. If you want to join us at one of those, allchgo.com. I know we got one at Joe's on Weed coming up soon.
Yeah.
So become a diehard to save on all of our great events.
See, look at that. You're just
Yeah.
killing
There it
time.
is.
There it is.
Yeah, we week 3 we will actually be on the road at Joe's on Weed Street, but week 4 we'll be back in our tailgate.
I believe
Watch
that
party and all
Joe's
that.
Cermak and Wabash.
pregame, postgame shows live at Joe's.
Yep.
And I believe $65 ticket gets you all you can drink, all you can eat during the game.
And then it's
Sounds
like
like a
$10
challenge.
if
And then
you
it's a
just-
$10
yeah.
general admission if you want to just come in and hang out and not if you're the designated driver.
Yeah, there you go.
Or you're a guy like me that doesn't booze it up.
That's a great
I mean,
idea.
hey, $65 to that'll definitely
From
cover
11:30 to the end of the game.
food and drink for a full
11,
NFL game.
11, yeah,
Get
get
it
a
my
bar.
weight in
That's like
wings.
a third of what you would pay if you were going to
yeah.
order drink by drink.
Plus,
for
you
the
get to
whole
hang
game.
out with the best CHGO Bears community out there.
Are
Absolutely.
Briggsy and Brownie going to be there? I call them that now because we're coworkers.
I believe so.
I don't know for a fact, but I think I heard that yesterday that they might be. I don't know.
I mean,
Sweet.
I mean,
they
if they're
can't.
doing
Those guys can't start taking Sundays off 3 weeks into this. Like I don't care how big and tough they are. Come on, man.
All right.
That's true.
Now we're in the break zone. More of your mailbag coming up on CHGO Blackhawks. But if you're like Jonathan Taves and you went to Burning Man, chances are you stopped by Sunnyside before you made the trip. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors and former captains are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. We tell you all the time, whether you're new at it, whether you're a veteran, Sunnyside is the place to go because they're going to hook you up with exactly what you need, including from some of their great brands like High Supply. They offer quality weed that's always available. Buds are expertly grown, lab tested, and available in vape carts, vape pens, flour, popcorn, shake, pre-rolls, shorties, and concentrates. And, of course, my favorite brand, Good News, created for great moments with the crew. It's why each Good News gummy, rechargeable vape pen, and cart is led by the occasion you love. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois MedCard holders and Jonathan Taves.
Yes. And hey, if you're looking to fill any open positions you might have, maybe you need Indeed. Indeed is driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search, but rather to match, and to match with Indeed. If
How do you
need
think we
to
found
hire-
Alex Brown and Lance Briggs?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 global monthly visitors. That's according to Indeed's own data. And a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. You can ditch the busy work and use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. So, listeners of this show, you can get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to that website, Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this here CHGO Blackhawks podcast. Again, Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
All right.
All right, let's go back into the Die Hard section of our Mailbag Monday questions. For this one from Genesis again, a double dip of
Double dip.
Genesis
Hey,
today.
man.
You double dip
There's
the
no
chip.
There's no limit on how many
No.
questions you can ask.
No, but this one's a hypothetical.
All right.
Here we go. Taylor Hall has a good season and is traded for a first. The Hawks land at
For a
7
first.
in the draft. Would you trade 7 overall, Toronto's first, and the first from the Hall to get into the top 5 if possible?
No.
Would you need
To
all
move
of
up 2
that?
spots?
You're going to move up 2 spots for 2 other first-round picks?
No.
I don't think you would need all of that to move from 7 to 5.
No, he's saying top 5. So anywhere in the top 5, I still wouldn't do that. Not if you have 7 and 2 other picks.
If you have 7 and 2 other picks, if you use the latter of the other 2 picks to move into the top 5, I think that would be enough, right? From 7, depending on which team is
Yeah,
sitting
like
there.
7 and another first.
7 and like 24,
Yeah.
let's say.
Sure. I
To
mean,
get to 4,
but I mean,
I think you could do it.
I don't know. This is not a good time to. I would say let's revisit that like
closer to the draft.
Yeah. After
it all
like,
depends on what teams are
in the
there
spring, because
and what prospects you're looking
like
at.
who knows? Like at 7, you could get a really great prospect. Where is there going to be that big of a drop off between say 4 and 7? Probably not.
We don't know right now.
And it's not like there's a Connor Bedard type player where like I'm going to give you my entire draft to move up to number 1 overall.
Right.
Like
yeah.
if you get, I mean, and I know this is hypothetical, and it depends on Taylor Hall getting traded for first, which I'm not seeing very many
that is
scenarios where that's
hypothetical.
possible unless
Never.
he's got like 30 goals by Christmas.
By trade deadline.
So,
And still no.
probably not.
Probably not.
Hey, but as I've said many times,
Crazy things
never
happen.
underestimate the stupidity of an NHL general manager.
True. Sam Bowman's back
Sam
in the league.
Bowman's out there, and Taylor Hall has played in it. He's going to bring former Oilers back to Edmonton, so go out
Get
and
the
give
band
a
back.
Yeah,
give
there
us
you
first
go.
for Taylor Hall.
Get Neil Yakupov back out
Yes.
there
Hey,
too.
he scored a game-winning shootout goal. The
Good
other
for
day.
him.
Yes, did the Marian Hossa in a shootout, pulled off a slap shot.
I love that.
Oh, that was Yurko.
Oh, that was Yurko. That
Yeah,
was
but
Blackhawks legend.
Yakupov
Thomas.
did
He
have a
did
game
have a
winner.
game winner.
Yeah.
Yes, the
I've
KHL.
been
where
following the KHL.
KHL where
Blackhawks legend.
mid NHL players go to be superstars
Yeah.
in their 30s.
So Demidov and
If you're wondering why,
can't get ice time.
if you're wondering why Cancerov can't get ice time, it's because Thomas Yurko has to go out and play in overtime.
Games are important.
But yeah, that's a lot to move up just a couple of spots. So
If you're talking 1 overall, it's a different conversation. But to go to
I'd give
7
up
to 5,
those 3 picks to try and get to 2 or 3 or 1. Sure, for James Higgins.
just trade it
Hell
for Demidov. Just do that.
yeah. Sure.
Let's go back in time.
stop mentioning Gavin McKenna for Christ's sake. God,
I want nothing to do with Gavin McKenna. Not
the kid is
not because
15
he's
and I already hate him
bad
because of you
or
guys.
whatever. It's because I don't want the Blackhawks to have a chance to be in that lottery or have those kinds of odds. I want them to be beyond that.
Exactly.
What about Porter Martone?
That would require them being like second worst this year,
Martoni.
which I kind of don't
Can I call
want
him
either.
Martoni?
Here's the thing. Blackhawks finish.
Get excited about Logan Hensler. There you go. Get
I
excited
mean,
about him.
the Blackhawks could win the lottery this year. This is the rigged year. This is the rigged year.
Yes, they could.
Let's rig this one.
Yes,
Let's
they
finish 15th overall
Oops.
and then win the lottery.
Oops,
Sure.
all Blackhawks in the lottery ball thing.
Oops. Let's do that. Yeah.
Sure.
That'd be tragic.
Sure.
I mean, we'll just call Gary Bettman and he'll be like, that's a great idea. I'll make that happen.
Okay.
In his
Sure.
seaside casual clothing we saw him in, that was very
Yeah,
off-putting.
hanging out with hip hop stars with tattoos on their
Yes.
face. There's a
Jelly Roll?
No.
No,
I said hip hop, not
Oh,
Country,
sorry. Yeah.
not country.
not country music.
Pop.
Right.
Country.
Whatever the hell that guy is.
The
Moving
field
on.
back in country.
Let's go to BJD. Again, this is our last one from the Discord, I should say here.
Diehards had a vacation
Yeah,
this
that's
week.
fine. That's fine. BJD says, I know it's just a placeholder, but the Utah jerseys seem like a massive missed opportunity to me to do something one-off and unique. What are your thoughts on the Utah jerseys?
Well, doing something one-off and unique is not the NHL's way.
No, that's true.
But with no team name, you really can't do anything. I like that jersey. I love the colors.
I do like the colors. I would like to see a little sprinkle of purple in there,
Yep, that's
which a
what-
lot of
that's
Utah
what,
teams have done.
Pete was saying.
Oh, really?
Like the Jazz.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
cool.
powder blue. There are not enough powder blue
Yeah,
uniforms.
that's a good blue. And we got the opportunity to see those in person, even though they were
black
like
ones,
way in the
yeah.
back.
They were in the back.
Don't
Fanatics,
look at
yeah.
these.
But
Don't look at these.
I don't. They look sharp. I'm not gonna buy one.
I might.
But they're. I like the color scheme. Yeah, it's a good start. I don't think they're anywhere close.
I
to
might
the
get
first
one just
product.
because it's going to be a collector's item.
Yeah, right.
You get a name on it?
That's the one-off.
See how much they charge
Cooley.
in Utah to do that.
Yeah, Logan
Get
Cooley,
a Cooley,
greatest,
yeah, get a Logan
greatest
Cooley
prospect
jersey.
Get a
on-
dome.
on the
But
planet.
see, you're talking about that pale blue, sky blue, whatever. Why isn't the jersey that color? What is it? Just black and white.
I do.
Ugh.
Because probably
Boring.
black jerseys are easy to
Boring.
produce on a
I agree with you.
short time frame.
Yeah.
Dark, like I don't know, what do you say, like the mid 2000s, the league went through this, like everyone's wearing navy and maroon, like these muted colors. People like bright colors. Like remember the Oilers when they went to navy? It was so boring.
Oh, it
Yeah, it was
sucked.
dark.
Those suck.
Yeah.
And then they had the
Then they did the
Spawn ones
orange.
that were I don't like the orange either.
The when they went back
at least
to
it was
just
bright.
the royal blue and orange like
Yeah.
that. It just they should have never changed that.
Like I don't love the Ducks' new all orange look,
very
but it's
bright.
better than the black and gold and orange
Yeah.
that they had before.
Yeah.
I'm all for bright colors. I'm with you, Law. I would have reversed the black and the blue on those jerseys.
Yeah, but
Thank you.
they probably had too many boxes of plain black jerseys
That's
in
true.
the warehouse.
Right, yeah.
Not too many powder blues lying
I
around.
wonder though how light they could go where it wouldn't be. I don't know. Maybe it'd have to be a little darker to be a home.
Yeah, I mean,
You know
there's
what I mean? I'm trying to think of
between
a
a
home
white
jersey.
but a white away jersey and like a really light home jersey. I don't think
Quebec did it.
are there.
Quebec was close to that.
Well,
Yeah,
I
but
mean, the
Quebec hasn't been
Panthers
around
have
in
those.
Yeah.
30
Panthers
years.
have those alternates where they're powder
Yeah,
blue.
true. That's true.
The
Yeah, but
Sharks
it's
are
an alternate,
tealish.
though.
Yeah, you could do it.
Yeah, that's
could do
That'd be
it.
the
I
one
just-
thing I changed.
Yeah,
But
I just think it's a good color scheme. They probably are just like, let's keep it simple, keep it basic. It'll look clean, and then
Yeah.
when they get a name and a logo and they actually operate like a real hockey team, which you should be able to do in the NHL, then you can have like a real jersey. I will say though, if they just keep that jersey like format and then just like Utah whatevers, I'll be a bit disappointed.
yeah, I think I agree.
I'm gonna get Petey on the back of my Utah jersey.
There you go.
There you go.
That's cool. I like that.
All right,
The Utah Petees, that's
we
what they
were
should
talking
be.
about uniforms here. I just want to bring this one up. Did you see the Capitals' new away sponsor?
Sponsored by
TikTok.
TikTok.
Good for them.
It's-
Money
They
is
got
money.
Tickety talk.
It is quite ironic that the nation's capital team is sponsored by a company
Leading the
that-
world in misinformation.
that people are trying to get banned in DC. It's just it's very very funny to me.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Jersey ads, ice ads,
Get used
helmet
to it.
ads, none of that stuff bothers me in the least. I know there was a section of our the fan base that, oh, you can't put ads on the jerseys. I get it.
Yep.
But I don't care. It does not affect the way I watch the game at all. You know, when you're there in person and you're watching on TV, you don't see it
Nah.
until they show you a close up on the bench. Then you see it.
Yeah, people are mad about the helmet stickers too, and I will say the Hawks Bell tire stickers they're pretty big, but still, like during the course of a game, it's not a distraction at all. Would I prefer them to be not there? Sure, of course, but
But I also want the salary cap to go up.
yes, exactly.
Can't have both.
And the argument that it's just going to start looking like European teams. No, it won't, because of the money that comes in from TV deals and everything else, which the European leagues don't have. That's why they have to have ice skating billboards, because that's how they fund those teams.
And their ice is ridiculous too. The ice
Right,
has
yeah.
got 30,000 ads on it.
But that's because they don't have European TV deals for those teams
Right. It's
like
not
the NHL
it's-
has.
or European soccer leagues. All the money is going in the European soccer leagues, not
Right.
hockey leagues.
Yeah, I don't want to speak out of turn. I would assume that the Premier League is the most profitable sports league in the world. Or is it
Based
the
on
NFL.
no, I'm thinking it's European soccer as a whole. I know like the Spanish league is super profitable. You know, you have the German and French leagues. Like I think as a whole, European soccer. I mean, just look at what.
The contracts are
Just
astronomical.
look who owns those teams and
Yeah,
tell me
right.
they're not profitable.
yeah, and they've got all of them have primarily company names.
They don't have
on
the
their
team name.
jerseys.
No, it is.
The,
There's,
the team
there's no
name's a
team
little
name on it.
crestier
Yeah,
top,
it's all
yeah.
sponsors.
It's a little. It's upsetting. I mean, I became an Arsenal fan back when they had Sega as their logo, which was actually really cool. But yeah, there's just like Emirates Airlines. It's like that's just lame. But you get over it.
Emirates is probably making a lot of money off it.
According to Forbes, last year, Forbes September of 2023, Real Madrid was worth $6.07 billion.
Jesus.
And Manchester United worth $6 billion. So that 0.07 was the difference. Any other soccer teams on here? Top 20.
Just a mere
Barcelona,
700
$5.5 billion. Liverpool, $5.28 billion. The most valuable franchise in all of the world, the Dallas Cowboys at $9 billion.
Thought for sure you're going to
blows
say the
my
White
mind.
Sox.
Blows my mind.
$9,000.
They got to do more
$1,000.
campfire
It's,
milkshakes.
it's pretty crazy that a team that hasn't won crap in 35 years is the most valuable.
Yeah.
Not anymore, though. Dak Prescott got all that money. They're not
He
worth
sure
as
did.
much.
He sure did.
Oh, boy.
Good luck with all that.
The Dallas Maple Leafs. Very good
Yeah.
regular seasons
No.
and not good playoffs.
Not the truth. I've actually seen the Cowboys win a championship.
That's
I've seen
true.
them win multiple
In your lifetime.
championships.
Yep.
Take that, Toronto.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into our Twitter questiones.
Twitter.
And this one comes from Alberto Vitale. How can Reichel have a
friend of
bounce-back year given the improved skill at the top of the lineup? What's the best way to deploy him on this team? It's our
Se-
weekly Reichel question.
Second line winger.
Second line?
I would.
I would say,
him
yeah.
with talent.
This is so like, this is where the like numbering of the lines comes into question. Because if you were to put him, Athanasiou, and Kurashev together as a line, usually line is judged by how good the center is.
Yeah.
So you would probably call that the third line,
Right.
but it's more of a
Yeah.
second line than a Dickinson, Bertuzzi, and Taylor Hall, for
Right.
instance,
Sure.
would be. So it's like, whatever you want to call it, I want to see that line together.
Yes, Athanasiou, Kurashev, and Reichel seems like a
Yeah.
natural way to start the year.
They were supposed to play together last
Right.
year,
Right.
but then injuries got in the way.
Yeah. Lousy wrists and hamstrings ruined the fun for everybody.
Darn you.
But no, you put him on a line that is meant to score. If there's not a spot for him on a line like that, then you have a problem
Yeah.
because
yeah.
he's an offensively
He's not a defensive
gifted
guy.
player. He's not going to be a checker. He's not going to be a power forward. He is what he is. He is an offensive-minded player. I hope that at least he can, play between the dots a little more. But I think, yes, that with Athanasiou and Kurashev, that line was dynamic at the end of 2 seasons ago. And they were looking to get them in training camp together, but just, Kurashev got hurt before the season. And then, Athanasiou was not far behind that.
Yeah,
And
Reichel
they were
underperformed, and
they were hell-bent on making Lucas Reichel a center last year.
Yeah. Hopefully that's over.
You got those 3 guys on a line. All 3 of those guys can play center. So you
If
can
you
move it
combine
around.
them, you have
Yes,
one
you
full
have
center.
one
great
center,
Yes.
3 wings.
Really fast, good hands,
You have-
and can play
You have
both
3
ways.
wingers and 3/4 of a center on one line. But you could mix it around depending on matchups. If someone's having a hot hand at the faceoff dot, you let him roll with it. It's all interchangeable once the puck is on the ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good line that can be a little versatile, has some speed. It's a line that other teams are going to have to worry about when they're on the ice. So and if that line gets hot, then say coaches are going to start putting their second pair D against those guys, and then that other second line, third line, your Dickinson, Taylor Hall, whoever's on that line, Mikheyev, whatever, those guys are going to go feast against third pair and defensemen.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully, too, like he can find some kind of specialty role on a power play. Like if you could just make him a power play weapon, whether he's controlling the puck on the boards or he doesn't seem super willing to go in front. Could he be the way the Hawks run the power play? The point man kind of rotates, as you see the way Connor Bedard plays on a power play, where he kind of goes where he wants and everyone kind of adapts to that. Could you have a poor man's Bedard style player on the second unit, and could that be Reichel, a guy who controls the puck, kind of roves around waiting to get open and get a shot? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do everything they can to find a way to make Lucas Reichel good and valuable, either to confirm that it was a decent pick made by Stan Bowman, or if it's time to move on. Because Mikheyev is a wild card here too. Like,
if he steps up his performance from what we saw of him in Vancouver, then that's another option of a guy who's more than just like a third, fourth line speedster. Like he can do a little bit more than that. I would love for Lucas Reichel to get these opportunities to be on the power play and to be effective. I'd love for him to be a second line scoring wing option. But he's going to have to earn it. This is no longer the territory of him kind of having a spot handed to him and working to live up to it. It's now, this is a spot that you have to go out and earn. And, you know, if Taylor Hall is healthy, Tyler Bertuzzi's here, Tavo's here, Jason Dickinson's, you know, become more of a legitimate, like, second line option. Kurashev, Bedard, like, does Lucas Reichel beat out all those guys to have a regular top 6 forward, regular power play spot?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
If he does, it means he's the Lucas Reichel that the Blackhawks envisioned him to be.
But he's got an uphill battle
for sure. And speaking of Mikheyev, it was awesome seeing him and Tyler Bertuzzi at the Bears game yesterday.
That was cool.
And Bertuzzi is in full Bertuzzi mode.
Oh yeah,
looks like he's not bathed in 2 months.
He's got
Bathing in the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
It's cool to see new guys in town, embracing being Chicagoans.
Yeah.
Were those guys teammates in Toronto? Did their time overlap?
No. Bertuzzi was only there for 1 year last year. But
you're right.
that's a lot of fun. And Bertuzzi, has anybody ever seen Todd Bertuzzi and Pete Dunne in the same place at the same time?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Pete Dunne, the pro wrestler. They
Butch,
look exactly alike,
as he has been called recently.
He's always be Pete Dunne to me.
The bruiserweight.
It'll always be Twitter, Sears Tower, and Pete Dunne.
That's exactly it. And
put that on a
Kaminsky
t-shirt.
All right, back to the mailbag. Let's go to Todd Welter, who asks, does Joey Anderson make the third or fourth line this season, or is he the extra forward most of the season?
I think unless he
fear
has
for our pal Joey Anderson.
unless he has a fantastic training camp and preseason, I feel like his spot is either going to be the extra forward or he's going to be playing top minutes in Rockford, just because I think with bringing in guys like Craig Smith and Pat Maroon, those are primarily fourth line extra forward veterans. And as much as, you know, Joey Anderson was really effective in those kind of roles, and as much as we all liked him, I know what you guys kind of alluded to on Friday, as the team progresses and gets better, these guys that we like from these lean years, they're going to be moved on from. And I think I like Joey Anderson. I like the way he plays. I think he's a very good tweener, but I think that's kind of where he's landing. And unless, like I said, unless he comes out in the preseason is extremely effective playing in that kind of role, it's looking like he might be just edged out.
You've got Mikheyev. We talked about it. We got Mikheyev. You got Craig Smith. You got Pat Maroon. You got Ryan Donato on this team still.
Forgot he.
There's not a lot of spots. Yes. I really like Joey Anderson in the role of, someone's hurt. We need to call somebody up that we know is dependable and can fill in any way, shape, or form. Joey Anderson is perfect in that role.
And I'll say this, if you're on the fence about some of these forwards, like let's say you have to make a decision between Joey Anderson, all things equal, you got to make a decision between Joey Anderson and Frank Nazar, or Joey Anderson and Landon Slaggert. Who do you want to give the NHL minutes to? The guy that the guy that you know as a known commodity is a well-liked guy, but we kind of know his ceiling, or the young guy that you're thinking might be a piece of the future?
If it's those three guys, it's probably Joey Anderson, just for the fact that Joey Anderson would have to clear waivers. The other two guys doesn't. You don't want to lose them for nothing.
Sure. Are there teams jumping over each other for Joey Anderson?
Ottawa Senators
at the start of the season.
I don't know.
I mean, if you were to do it later in the year,
the Ottawa Senators
probably
claimed
a little
Boris
riskier.
Kachuk off of waivers last year. Somebody's taking.
I mean,
Joey
look,
Anderson.
I'm not nothing against Joey Anderson. If Joey Anderson gets claimed, fine.
No, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I mean,
Right,
but
If you have a team like as we said, we like Joey Anderson. We like Landon Slaggert a lot at the end of this last year. But if this team has improved enough where those guys are going to Rockford, that's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a good thing.
I'm not saying that it's
like
it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, I'm I don't know. I would say if an NHL spot is between those guys, for example, as in a hypothetical, I might go with the younger guy.
Yeah, I agree.
To give him that
I agree with
opportunity.
that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it seems to me that I think management is at the mindset with these young players, Nazar, Slaggert included, the defenseman. If there's any doubt, they're going to Rockford. Like they have to be without a shadow of a doubt. NHL, not only NHL ready, but ready to be a contributor on a nightly basis on the NHL. If there's any doubt, they're going to Rockford.
Okay,
which is a great luxury to have.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
it's
and that's the way you want your AHL team to operate.
Right.
And remember, you still got Zach Sanford.
You do still have Zach Sanford. That's true.
$2 super chat from our pal Windy City Hockey.
Sorry, Wendy, I missed this earlier.
What a jerk. PWHL chat GPT generated names. Montreal logo is the best. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I
like Boston's.
I really wanted Minnesota to do something cool because I love purple is my favorite color, and I wanted. But Frost and that logo is so.
They were the white
cookie
caps,
cutter,
right? In the NWHL.
Yes,
the
it's
white
so
caps,
much
yeah.
better.
I have a Minnesota Whitecaps jersey. It's
Yeah.
a cool jersey.
Frost.
I don't know.
That's a Gatorade flavor.
Let's see what
what I
the
was
same
thinking.
color too. Let's see what the jersey looks like before.
Yeah,
that's what I like.
The
Yeah,
logo
yeah.
itself.
I want to
is-
see the uniforms. That's the end of it for me. Like
yeah, if you have a lame uniform but a good jersey, or a lame logo but a good jersey.
yeah, or a
to make
lame
up
name
for
and
it.
a good uniform. That's good.
Yeah,
But
to make
the
up
other
for
way
it.
around, a cool name and a crappy jersey.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Right. All right, what do we got next?
All right, next up, this is from Brandon. What are your feelings on this season as compared with last season? Obviously, landing Connor Bedard was very exciting, but personally, I feel more excited to see more Davidson players in the lineup.
Each year that we've done this, I've been more excited.
Yeah.
Just because, the first full season that we covered this team for CHGO, it was the teardown year.
Yeah,
And
that was
then-
tough.
And then that was rough. But then going into that next season, that was the arrival of Bedard. Very exciting. Going into this year, it's year 2 of Bedard. Plus, this team is supposed to be much better, much more depth of NHL talent.
Just watchable.
The watchability of this team
Yeah.
will be much better than last year, as it's constructed on paper. But yeah, I'm more incrementally excited each year.
Yep.
Just because the team as a whole is going to get better.
Yeah, last year, tons of excitement for Connor Bedard, but not a lot of excitement after that.
Right.
It's like, okay, cool, we got Connor Bedard. Kevin Korchinski is going to be a lot of fun.
Mhm.
But, God, this team's going to be lousy.
Yeah.
And we didn't think they were going to be nearly as bad as they were going to be. Like, you had Foligno, you had Hall. You thought, okay, they could be okay. They could be competitive. And then all hell broke loose with all those injuries.
Well, and the Corey Perry situation too,
Right.
and
Like,
he was
right,
actually
yeah.
pretty useful early in
Yeah,
the season.
he was.
and
yeah.
it just a lot of things. Anything that could go wrong did last
Yeah,
year.
for sure.
So getting over that and now coming into a team that second year of Connor Bedard is exciting, but then you have Teuvo Teravainen and Bertuzzi and all these new guys coming in, and you have a backup goalie that isn't a complete sieve, and you have younger players that are going to contribute at some point this season, if not from night one, at least down the road. You have lots of things to look forward to, and they're going to be playing meaningful games much
Hopefully.
further into
Yeah.
the season than they did last year. They're going to
Hopefully.
be there, hopefully in January and February, you're going to be playing some games where you're like, hey, this is an important game.
Yeah, definitely.
Instead of just being like, hey, maybe we can ruin this team's season by beating them in March.
That's also fun.
Penguins looking at you.
Got a super chat here from Michael. Says thoughts on Bukowskis replacing Jeff Merrick. That's on the 32 thoughts. I mean, love Jeff Merrick. He's kind of impossible to replace because he's such a unique personality. But give the new guy a shot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
think Kyle Bukowskis is pretty good guy to put in that spot. That's a difficult position to be put in.
Yeah.
in the hockey media world, but I think he's a good fill in for sure.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with him as I was with Jeff Merrick. I mean,
Yeah.
But just let's see how it goes. You have Elliot Freeman, the most in-tuned insider out there. Merrick had a lot of great contacts as well.
Mm-hmm.
He had a lot of great info, and that chemistry was fantastic. So we'll see how that goes. But just give it a whirl and see how it turns out.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow to finish up the mailbag, and we'll have some other Hawks news along the way as well. And then Wednesday, we're back at Fifth Third for the beginning of Prospects training camp. Very exciting. So stick with us all week here on CHGO Blackhawks. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 2:30. Bye. Hit the like button.
We all silly like the mayor.